Okay, so this came up yesterday, and we did not show photo evidence of it, but it's still trending. As you probably already know, Sydney Sweeney showed up to the Variety Power of Women award show with a see-through gown, and it was spread all over the internet. Everyone has seen it by now. We still can't show it because we're on YouTube, and I wouldn't want to share it with you anyway. But she was one of the honorees. She was on Variety's list of powerful women, and there is now a debate about whether this is empowering. Sharon Stone was
like
another
the early 2000s again.
Yeah. Sharon Stone was another veteran actress featured at the event, and she was the one to present Sydney Sweeney with her honor on stage. And on the red carpet, she gave several answers to this reporter about Sydney Sweeney's controversial American Eagle ad campaign and Sydney Sweeney's public image in general. Sharon Stone is looking, at the hindsight of her career, having been seen in a similar light to the way Sydney Sweeney is seen today. And she believes she can offer some of her wisdom, having been in Sydney Sweeney's shoes. So here's what she had to say about the American Eagle campaign, comparing Sydney Sweeney to Jane Goodall, of all people.
I mean, I had a really interesting talk with her one day at work. I was saying, talking to her about the reaction.
I should add the context here is that Sharon Stone was cast in the third season of Euphoria, which hasn't come out yet. That's why they were working together, so they know each other.
Here we go.
Her Jean campaign. And I was saying, because I'm co-godparents with Jane Goodall. And I said, when Jane was on the cover of Life magazine for her work with gorillas, she was in her safari shorts and shirt, sitting with one of the animals that she was working with. And other scientists said, well, she only got the cover of Life magazine because she had good legs. And Jane said, well, if I did, then that helped me get more money for my research. And Sydney said, yeah, and I'm sure I made $1 billion for the Jean Company, and I'm good with that because you know what? I'll get another job.
Exactly. Okay. So I don't remember how much shareholder value increased for American Eagle. Was it like...
it was in the billion range. She made them a lot of money. It ended up being a lot.
I forget what the figure was at this point. But yeah, so she was comparing Sydney Sweeney to Jane Goodall, which is an interesting take. And in this second clip, Sharon Stone talks about basically using your hotness to your advantage as an actress, because Sharon Stone, of course, was known for that.
And also, it's okay to use what Mama gave you.
Absolutely.
It's really fine. It's hard to be hot. And I think we all know that. And it's really okay to use every bit of hotness you have right here, right now, and go for whatever that is. Because everybody has their own certain kind of hotness, their own certain thing.
Wait, so are we getting one of these arguments where, like, everybody's beautiful?
Is everybody hot?
And you're supposed to go for that, because who are you not to be beautiful? Who you are isn't an accident.
I will say it's also not an accident. I would imagine that you two have wound up on...
Okay.
Yeah, so then she repeats this phrase that it's hard to be hot when she's on stage presenting the award, and this is how she introduces Sydney Sweeney to the crowd.
Okay, here we go.
Sydney, Sydney, Sydney. As we all know...
I can't get over the... What is this fit?
She looks like she's in one of those, like, milk cartons that you got when you were in elementary school, like the paper milk cartons.
It's hard to be hot. When you're super hot, as so many of us are, shit happens. People act in so many crazy ways when you're so hot. you know, they want. They just want. They're never really sure what they want. I mean, they write songs about it, you know, and then we write songs about it, like, you don't own me. And then people get all freaked out and they do stuff like they kick dirt in your eye, you know, in all those different ways that people kick dirt in your eye when, you know, you're hot.
That was deep.
And in this next part of her speech, I think this is the most interesting remark that she offered about herself and what it means to make a lasting impact.
Difference between being the moment and then being something, right?
Right.
And I can tell you because I'm hot.
Wait, is it like okay to laugh at that? Just because it's a joke? But see, the thing is, if you're real covert in there, you can laugh at her, not with her.
I don't know.
But I'm assuming they're laughing with her.
Because I'm no longer Sharon Stone, as you may have noticed. I'm now Sharon motherfucking Stone.
So a lot of needless swearing in the speech, but she's trying to say that she made her reputation as a Hollywood icon by using her sex appeal to her advantage, and it paid off in the long run. And her statement there that she's hot clearly shows that she hasn't really matured past that point.
Yeah.
From what I can tell, it reminded me of a social media post that she put up last year, recreating the Basic Instinct pose with her legs crossed on Instagram. I mean, I remember at the time, Brett, you had choice words for her.
What'd I say?
Wait, can you just pull that up again? Just pull that up again and just open that after pic. Okay, yeah. That was Sharon Stone last year recreating Basic Instinct. And at the time, you said that you found this incredibly embarrassing for her.
Yeah, I do. Like, just why?
I mean, she is 67.
I don't know.
I
think all of that is, I think the overt leaning into sexuality when you hit a certain age where the entire point of it is that you're older is cringe. It's not to say that you can't do something where it's like if you're in really good shape when you're older and you are into fitness and stuff like that, that's one thing, but that's not the same thing as leaning into sexuality. But if I'm being honest, the Sharon mother effing Stone was more embarrassing than what I just watched. That was really cringy.
More embarrassing than the Basic Instinct post?
It is. It is.
Why?
There's just like a sense of bravado there that like I literally could see cobwebs coming off her and she's shouting with some type of lame bravado. It was lame.
Well, I bring up these clips of Sharon Stone to illustrate a larger point. And this is actually fitting for our conversation earlier about women sabotaging other women. I think this is an example of that because when you lean into sex appeal to the point where that's what you're known for, that's your brand, this is the logical conclusion of that.
Yeah. If you don't pivot.
Yeah. That's really what I'm trying to say is just that's all you're going to be in anyone's minds. I
mean, okay, so how about this? I never think of like, despite the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis was like a sex symbol when she was growing up, I don't think of her.
Was she?
Yes.
I wasn't around. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, okay. I don't think anybody's thought of her that way in a very, very long time. And she's older, I think, or than Sharon Stone, or around the same age.
She's at the same age as Sharon Stone, yeah.
I mean, for instance, she became the face of Activia. She's like, okay, my sex symbol days are over. I'm now the face of geriatric yogurt. That's okay.
Geriatric yogurt.
You can,
that's a good point. Jamie Lee Curtis actually did the pivot.
Yes, you can be the face of like a strong digestive system and not be the face
Probiotics.
of probiotics and not be the face of like dusty underwear.
She did the pivot correctly. I don't know. I obviously I don't have the context here, but did Jamie Lee Curtis really lean that heavily into being a sex symbol?
I mean, I think
At the time?
I mean, it's before my time too, but I know that at that time there was a certain type of person who got of woman who got hired for those types of movies, and you were expected to look a certain way. So
And
yeah,
she was
yeah.
the type?
I mean, I people in the chat can back me up here. Like she would have been in many of the women of that time period. You would think
Interesting.
that they would learn to pivot later, because I don't remember the True Lies scene.
That's from Not That Jon Stewart.
But like, that's just maybe the male. I was trying to think of the male corollary. Okay. And now, unfortunately, I don't think that it passes muster, where I don't think it's as cringe for the men, but it can be. And I'll tell you what that is. I was trying to find, because you know me, I'm always trying to be fair. I'm not trying to single out the ladies here. I guess the male corollary for this would be when they get too old as action stars and you've got geriatric Liam Neeson trying to be a badass. Okay.
Or geriatric Harrison Ford.
Or
in Dial of
geriatric
Destiny.
Harrison Ford. Like somebody like Stallone can still pull it off, because Stallone looks like he could still kick your ass, right? Like he's in his. I remember that. So like there was like a scene in season 1 of Tulsa King where he like doesn't have a shirt on, and the dude he's ripped. He's super buff still, and he's like in a relationship with like Andrea. The actress's name is Andrea Savage. I imagine she's 30 years younger than him at least. But you know what? When you're Sylvester Stallone, you can get away with that. But Liam Neeson cannot. All you're gonna think about is him like aging, droopy skin, pissing his pants. Like you're not gonna buy it in the same way, which is why he pivots and does Naked Gun. People liked it in Naked Gun because it's funnier there.
Yeah. This is a universal truth. Female beauty fades. Conversely, so does male virility.
Yeah.
It fades. You cannot keep it forever. You can do everything in your power to stave it off. You can spend your exorbitant wealth on procedures that can mask these changes. But at the end of the day, no one, if they hopefully live to their natural end of days, nobody keeps their beauty or their strength. And I think that Sharon Stone is an example of a woman, there are many of them in Hollywood, who has not been able to accept that truth.
Yeah.
And has a stunted, I think she's mentally stunted as a result. And I think that she's maybe unconsciously sabotaging this younger star, Sydney Sweeney, by encouraging Sydney Sweeney to follow in her footsteps in that way. And
I mean, without any advice on how to pivot later.
yeah, which she could do.
This
But there's
also
something
happens-
inherently undignified about, you know, a granny trying to be sexy.
Yes.
Because it means that you're not a whole person.
This happens in the wrestling business, as certain wrestlers, they continue wrestling, but their bodies just can't. They can't. And again, their physique is even higher. It's supposed to be even higher than the average person's. They're not supposed to look like normal people. They're supposed to look like gods. They are. But then you look at Chris Jericho now, and he looks like, I don't know, tapioca pudding. like dude could kick my ass, but the point is he doesn't have the physique that he had when he was younger. He's still as charismatic as he ever was, and I'm looking forward to him. It's like, I knew I turned the volume up on that. He's as charismatic as he ever was, and he can still do great work, but it doesn't look the same.
Right.
You know, somebody who, a woman who is aging gracefully. Bridget Monahan was a model when she was younger, grew into being a serious actress. She was on Blue Bloods for like the last 15 years. She played John Wick's wife, if you're looking for, she's the reason for the whole first movie. She's the one who buys him the dog after she dies. But the point is she's aged very gracefully. I watched, she was in something recently, and it doesn't look like if she's getting work done, it's very, very slight. It's not excessive. She's not taking on roles that go against, her age.
Yeah, it's in a way maybe more difficult for men to accept that they're aging, because there's more clearly delineated path for women because we create life.
Yeah.
The stages of womanhood are more clearly defined because of that reason alone, because of our biological fertility window.
Yeah.
For men, it's actually a little bit less clear. But I think that, you start out as a maiden, you become a mother, and then once you have a generation after your own children, you're a matriarch, and you take on a highly esteemed position in your community. And this is time tested. But this is a cycle of life that Hollywood women have universally almost rejected.
Yeah.
And I think that it's an incredibly dangerous thing to, and I don't think she's doing it intentionally, but to encourage a younger woman to follow in your footsteps if you're Sharon Stone. Yep. And do we have a 20 here?
Yeah, 20.
Let me find that.
From Not That Jon Stewart.
Super Chat won't let me describe the scene. I can't figure out why. The hotel scene.
I think it was, I think YouTube, like, it's a strip tease.
Oh, okay. That's probably why you can't describe it.
1994. So it was, she has since gone on to the Activia future since then.
And now, as for the discourse about Sydney Sweeney's attire at the event, there's a lot of uproar over it, and the only responses are I approve or I disapprove. And I feel like I have a secret third take that a lot of people aren't willing to hear. Obviously, I don't think that it's respectable to display your areolas to the entire world under any circumstances. Doesn't matter if Lizzo is doing it, doesn't matter if Sydney Sweeney is doing it. I don't think that's a respectable thing to do.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm a conservative. And I guess this is clarifying that a lot of people who profess to be conservatives are not actually in reality. And that's fine. Actually, I'm fine with them being liberals, but I would like to make the terms clear and accessible to everyone so we can have a clear conversation about this. I think that I have my best guess as to why self-styled conservatives are celebrating what she wore to this event. My best guess about that is that the left leaned so far into being defiantly unsexy
and ugly,
like just celebrating ugliness, that essentially limitless sexual license has been adopted as anti-woke, and I think that's stupid.
I mean, part of that is also there's probably a lot of people who fall into that category that aren't conservatives. Like, sure, maybe you click on some of their profiles and it claims that that's what they are there, but a lot of it's just that you're part of the big tent now over on the right, because the Overton window has gone so far to the left that it's left everybody else kind of undefined in what they are. And it's not necessarily that they're conservative, it's that the people who don't like them would call them that.
I'm just saying, if you are the type of person who would prefer to rewind back to 2005 feminism, that's fine. We can have a conversation about that, but let's put all our cards on the table. That's feminism. That is still feminism, and feminism was always going to follow the same path. So you didn't have the ability to pause at sexual license. It was always going to become people chopping their tits off and the abolishing of gender. That's always where it was going to head. So you might prefer how things were 20 years ago, but if we actually did rewind back 20 years, we would just end up in 2025 again. And it's very clear to me, at least, that Sydney Sweeney is a 2005 feminist. And there are a lot of other 2005 feminists, or perhaps 90s liberals, people, and I mean that by people who adhere to liberalism, the ideology, who think that this is right-wing coded or conservative, and it's not. And I've cited a few things that Sydney Sweeney has said in interviews in recent years to demonstrate that point. I posted it with a picture of Emily Ratajkowski, an avowed feminist, holding up her memoir, which is titled My Body. And I wanted people to think that these were quotes from her. Here they are. I'm not ashamed of my body. If I want to do a nude scene, that's my choice. Taking that away from me isn't empowering, it's controlling. People love to police women's bodies and choices. That's the opposite of feminism. If a man did the same, no one would care. One of the questions I get is, are you a feminist? I find empowerment through embracing the body that I have. So when I posted this as quotes from Emily Ratajkowski, I got a ton of replies that were basically calling her an idiot, calling her a whore, saying that she's prattling on about empowerment and she thinks that taking her clothes off is a form of empowerment and that's stupid. I completely agree with all of those takes. I'm just saying it wasn't Emily Ratajkowski that said it. It was Sydney Sweeney, and demonstrably she is a liberal feminist. She's just a sex positive feminist. So you might be confused about what feminism is or what it means. It didn't show up 15 years ago. We've been on this track culturally for far longer than people realize.
I mean, I do think a lot of people would have been okay with going back to the idea of that type of feminism because it's not centered around men being bad. It's centered around her body being good.
Well, I think it's actually centered around men and women being the same thing, which they're not. I think that's really what it stems from. And if we're being real, it's because birth control flattened sexual differences and made women able to conduct their sex lives in a way that a man would, non-committally. So as soon as I clarified that these are quotes from Sydney Sweeney, I got a bunch of responses that were like, well, actually, it's kind of really profound what she's saying there because, and like, you know, you can explain it away however you want, but this is liberalism. And if you're a liberal, that's fine. I guess we don't have much in common, but I'm not that. So that's why I would object to her decision there.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.